Well, so here we are, May 14th. I'm out here putting in some Red Osier Dogwood. I got 50 Red Osier Dogwood to plant today, 25 Quaking Aspen, and 50 Red Cedar. Just all three of those amazing wildlife species of trees. Anyways, I'm trying out something new this year. In the past, I've planted hybrid poplar and hybrid willow and a few aspen last year down here in the swamp and in other areas on the property. You can see right here I got a Red Osier Dogwood planted, and right here's another one. These are like 3 to 4 foot tall whips, just perfect for rubbing. And just if I left them exposed like this, there's a pretty low chance that these are going to survive. I know they have a root system, and once that gets established, they'll probably keep shooting up suckers. But with all this canary grass in here, so my plan is, I got all this dead buckthorn. Every other buckthorn down in here is dead, and you can see I already got a couple of them tipped over. And so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this buckthorn right over on top of these two, and it'll act as a utilization cage. You can see right here, here's one that tipped over probably a year or two ago, and the canary grass is still grown up into it. And I jammed a willow cutting right here. This is a willow cutting. This thing growing out at the top. Literally just down the road, I cut off a couple willows and just jammed them into the ground down here. And it seemed like the ones that were 3 to 4 foot tall had the best survival rate. The willows that I cut down to a foot, like they say you're supposed to, the only chance of those are going to survive is if you have really good weed control. And obviously, all those 1 foot cuttings I jammed in down here didn't survive because this canary grass gets like 5 feet tall in the summer. But all these taller ones survived, and you can see it actually grew from here up. It almost grew a foot last year, its first year in the ground. And this is one that I tipped over into it, and a lot of the other ones died that were not like caged off like this. So here's a couple Red Osier Dogwood. This one's pretty exposed, but this one in here is definitely better protected, and this canary grass will grow right up into that like this one and be really good by the winter time this year, when these things are probably gonna get browsed the most. And you can see here's another one I just planted into. Dead buckthorn. Here's my Red Osier Dogwood. Here's another one right in here. And then this one I actually got 3 in. 1, 2, that's a big one. This third one was a little bit far out. I probably should just move them, but we'll see what happens to this one on the edge. And here's all my hybrid poplar trees. I'm planning on, in 10 years or so, when these things get a little bit bigger than the tubes, I'll probably cut down every other one of these. And these things are supposed to send up a ton of root suckers. As soon as you cut them off, they'll be like hybrid poplars, trees growing in here everywhere that'll grow 6 to 8 feet a year. Just right now, this is all just summertime habitat. All this horse nettle and just browse. As soon as the frost hits, there really isn't much food in here other than a little bit of natural Red Osier and silky dogwood right there, those bushes. That's the only thing they eat on here in the winter. And like I said, the flood came in here 3 years ago and killed out half the buckthorn, which is perfect. So I can tip them over right into the flood didn't kill any of the Red Osier Dogwood because it'll survive really wet conditions. But yeah, I'll show you some planting here in a second, and I'll show you tipping them down. I got this one set up ready to tip down right into here, and I got this one over here set up ready to go. So here's one of my cuttings right here. This is a cutting I jammed in the ground last spring off that same willow bush that was just right over there you saw. This one got nipped on by the deer over winter because it was pretty exposed. But I'm gonna drop this one right onto this dogwood and this dogwood. You can see I got hybrid poplars, and this is a hybrid willow right here. But yeah, just trying to really change the landscape of this down in here. Try and offer a lot more woody browse eventually. Like these trees obviously are not gonna have any browse, but in 10 years when I cut them down and they'll sprout shoot, they'll have a root system like crazy, shooting up root suckers everywhere. Some of them I'll leave though. All right, so I got two Red Osier Dogwood right here. Got 2 holes dug. This is good. This dead buckthorn will get tipped right on top of here once I'm done. Planting in this swamp ground is super nice. It's like 3 shovels and you got a nice hole. Really quick.
You don't think you're too deep, do you?
Well, it'll always settle. Another one right here.
You want to put a little water on them?
Yeah. All right, keep it going. Let's back up a little bit. This one's ready to tip right down onto these. This has probably been dead for 3 years, you can see.
You better grab your little whip and stick them back up.
Yeah, I know. And you can see, it'll be quite a long time before any deer rubs that one. They still can probably nip the top of that if they get their headway in here. There's no way any deer's rubbing that for 10 years. See this one over here? Look at how well, and this, you gotta remember, this tree is completely dead. So as much sunlight as
Just
there
grab
is in there right now.
Grab it if you can. Okay, you can see it, yeah.
This guy's a little bit crowded, but he should be able to grow right through there. And then 10 years from now, when this is all really decomposed and laying on the ground, there'll be a nice big dogwood here, hopefully. Or, it'll be bushed out. These are supposed to bush out, after a year or 2, they're supposed to like really, start to bush out. They're just like whips right now, but yeah. Okay, you can see right here, I got one right there, another one right there, and this is that willow that I jammed in the ground last spring that's still alive.
Got nip too.
Okay. Oh, this one's a little harder. I want to get 100% survival rate on these things. That's a little better. All right, so right now I'm in a different bedding area that I'm trying to improve. It's mainly just does that are bedding here. Anyways, I planted these Red Osier Dogwood yesterday, and there's already a couple of them that got nipped off overnight because they weren't really brushed in like I was doing down there in the swamp. Because here, I don't have as many dead buckthorn that I can just flop down right onto the newly planted trees. But I'm brushing them in, kind of like just sticking piles of brush around them. You can see right here is one. There's one over here. This is probably like the minimum amount of cover you'd want. Hopefully some goldenrod and grass will grow up into that and kind of stay up in there too, to kind of like hold all that brush together and just, be more protection. I got another one right in there. I drug a few longer buckthorn in here. See, there's one right here. I got one right there. Another one right there. And you can see, this is one right here that was not like that yesterday. The deer nipped off the terminal bud right there. That should be fine because they got all these other ones to grow from. And these things should start to bush out by year 2 or 3. Like, pretty good, as long as their root system gets established. Right here's another one. Look at how they just nipped that right off. Got really good coverage on these 3. One here, one right here, and one right here. This was all buckthorn. You can see how thick that buckthorn is. This used to be all just solid buckthorn, and just bare dirt and dead sticks underneath, kind of like what that looks like. And we got a whole nother acre of it right there that we're gonna probably hire out and try to convert that. We're gonna mow down like almost 90% of that brush, kind of like, and make it what it looks like here. Look how all this grass, goldenrod, and there's obviously some buckthorn coming back, but scattered throughout here there's a whole bunch of dogwood and willow and box elder trees coming up. Look at how green the forest floor is now. All this open sunlight. So where all this was all buckthorn, I'm trying to convert, you know, get a little bit more natives in here with these Red Osier Dogwood, which the deer love to eat. Just way better browse than buckthorn. So hopefully this will slowly fill in. There'll obviously be buckthorn. Like right here's the dogwood I was telling you about. I don't think this is Red Osier Dogwood because it's a little bit greener. And it's probably like silky dogwood or something. There's a couple different types of dogwood. And then you got like all these native plants. This is like bone set. It's like a 3-foot flower. Blooms in like July. There's all kinds of just super diverse compared to what it used to be. Here's all the old dead stumps of buckthorn. All this grass is filling in. Here's some more dogwood. Just a really little one that just seeded itself in, but it's competing against all these little buckthorns. There's some more of that wildflower stuff and thistles and some willows right there, some dogwood right here, more dogwood here. It's just everywhere in here is just super diverse. Way better than what it used to be. Right here's a couple buckthorn that I let come back. I nipped off most of these ones that were growing back this spring. I'm just gonna leave them here. Probably cut those down in a year or two anyways. But just look at this. This is all really good preferred deer browse. You can see that completely nipped off this winter. Got some more dogwood right here. So look at this box elder tree right here. Maybe be able to hinge that maybe 10 years from now. This buckthorn here, killed a few of these. These are starting to tip over on their own, some of them. Kind of like what the swamp was doing, but I didn't kill those. The water killed those. So you can see a whole bunch of dogwood right here, been nipped off like crazy over the winter. So dead ash tree right here falling over. So this is just creating awesome, all these half dead buckthorn, my newly planted Red Osier Dogwood, and all this stuff tipping over, and all the vegetation growth is just creating way better deer habitat. There's all kinds of beds in here. You'll see deer hair. So this looks like a deer bed right here. I'll probably find, well, it's getting harder to see the hair, but there was deer beds throughout this whole area last summer and into the fall, and even in winter time they were bedding, mainly probably nighttime bedding here. This is pretty open, but so August, September, October, November, this is all really good habitat. Once you get to like middle of winter, it's pretty open, some pretty strong winds. They're probably gonna be back in the cover out of the wind more, but nice sunny day that I could see them being out here. So pretty awesome. Got a few hybrid poppers in here. Like I said, I could probably cut those down 15 years from now and they should shoot up a ton of root suckers, but I don't really have too many in here, so I'll probably just leave these ones. The other in the swamp down there where I was earlier in the video, I got a lot more of those. Probably be cutting down some of those in the future. But these ones I'll probably leave. Awesome. All right, so June 3rd today. Looks totally different down here than what it was when I was planting. Obviously, it's really greened up. This horse knot on here is already waist high. Anyways, just checking up on these Red Osier Dogwood, seeing if any of them got nipped off yet. You can see right here is one of those buckthorn that I pushed over. It's already got like 2 or 3 inches of growth on there. I don't expect them to grow too much the first year, but they still are pretty exposed. But once the most crucial time for these things' survival is going to be this winter. You know, like I said, we got literally 2 acres of food, corn and soybeans, just right over that way. But this one's looking pretty good. Got one there, one right there. See, that one on the end looks like it got nipped off on the top already. See that? That was the one I was kind of worried about. That was probably gonna get nipped off. But I got some other ones, like in way bigger piles of brush. Let's go take a look at this over here. See, I got one right here, another one right here. And like I said earlier in the video, once all the canary grass grows into them, that should really help, you know, add a little bit more cover, because that stuff will just stand up in the brush throughout the winter, like when I said is the most crucial time. You can see right here, here's a willow cutting that I jabbed in the ground. Like I'm pretty sure I showed this earlier in the video, but I jabbed him in the ground last spring and he grew like a foot last year, and so far this year he's already grown about like maybe like 4 or 5 inches. And like I said, with those cuttings, the taller they were, the better survival rate I had, especially in here where there's like literally no weed control. All the little 1-foot cuttings like they suggest don't even stand a chance if you're trying to plant them out here, you know, in habitat. Some of these ones, you know, they are pretty exposed. If they don't get nipped here in the summertime, they'll probably get nipped in the winter pretty hard, but I mean, that's what I planned them for. Some of them like that are probably gonna have a way better survival rate than like this one right here. But as long as they don't get rubbed or literally ate down to the ground, they should get their root system established and offer good browse for the deer. But if they stay small like this forever, that ain't really doing much. They got to turn into a bush before they, you know, can provide a good amount of browse. But we'll see how this turns out. I'll probably do an update next year and maybe the year after that too. I don't know. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little video. You see my hybrid poplar trees are exploding in growth. Those things are insane. Those are all 3rd year poplar trees. They've only been in the ground for 2 years. This is their 3rd year of growing. So they went from like a 3-foot tree to like an 8-9 foot tree the first year to like a 15, well, that's only like 12 feet, about a 7-foot tree to like 10 feet, and now they're, you know, getting up there. Anyways, that's about a wrap on the video, so thanks for watching.